Radio viewers to the Rockbound Post and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Today on Good Morning Maine, the trial everyone has been watching has concluded, and former President Trump has been convicted of 34 felonies.
Plus, the Thorndike Post Office had to hastily cover up some hate speech spray painted on their building, leaving many residents outraged.
And a special gathering in Augusta to celebrate the work of Maine's dairy farmers. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us on this Friday morning. We'll also take you to a really neat museum down in Clinton where they have some amazing cars and other memorabilia on display. A really neat story coming up. But first, a check of the forecast. It's Friday and it looks like a partly cloudy day ahead. Should see plenty of sunshine mixed in with those clouds, maybe some thunderstorms later on.
Here's Devin Biggs with that forecast.
And thank you very much, Craig and Emma. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Downey's Trailer Service in Ellsworth, offering parts, sales, and full service repair on all trailers. Your local Load Right authorized dealer. Stop by or call us today at 207-813-0007. Overall, not looking too terrible out there. We had a frost advisory that was issued earlier this morning across the northern parts of the state, expiring at 7 a.m. Eastern time, so pretty much this is expiring this morning. Otherwise, though, we're looking pretty good as a result of the way things are looking right now. Just a few clouds passing through. We will have to watch for more clouds developing this afternoon and maybe a few showers and a rumble of thunder that could occur as well as the daytime progresses on. Let's zoom things out. Not a whole lot going on right now. Looks like we have a little bit of energy tracking in from the north going toward the south. And this might be some of the energy that will be moving in that could give us that chance for a shower or a rumble of thunder today. Futurecast showing those clouds developing and maybe a few showers and a rumble of thunder. Notice we may have a few sprinkles early in the evening, but then clearing out overnight into parts of early Saturday morning. As for the winds, those sustained winds may pick up to around 11 to 12 miles per hour today, gusts up to at least 20 miles per hour, also possible today as well before we back things off later on tonight. So for today, here we go. Partly cloudy, a few showers and a rumble of thunder possible with highs in the low 70s and the north wind getting up to around 20 miles per hour at times. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period. Sunshine to start, more clouds for the afternoon, a few showers and a rumble of thunder possible. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma.
All right, thank you, Devin. Former President Trump in New York last night as the nation comes to terms with the guilty verdict in his hush money trial. He is the first president in U.S. history convicted of a crime, and soon he'll be hitting the campaign trail for an election unlike any other. The question now is, can history help guide us through the contentious months ahead? ABC's Rhiannon Alley has more.
This morning, former President Trump's guilty verdict playing out at a time when Americans are already deeply divided. Some people cheering the verdict outside the court.
11 felonies!
Reading off the felonies like lottery numbers from their phones.
It's very exciting that he's going to be held accountable for at least some of the bad things he's done.
Others furious at the verdict.
What I do know for sure is that our Justice Department is criminals all hell.
Presidential historian Mark Updegrove calls it a sobering moment for America, comparing the divisiveness to what we saw during Watergate,
which was also a very divided time in American history. But the big difference was that Richard Nixon resigned because the leaders of his party came to see him, and they urged Nixon to resign the presidency for the good of the country. We now have a president who has been convicted of a crime, and he is the presumptive nominee of his party.
Updegrove expects the verdict to further divide the country, no matter whether Trump is sentenced to probation or prison.
Donald Trump has a rabid following of individuals. Americans will continue to be divided in this moment because they believe Donald Trump, despite the fact that this verdict has been handed down.
Trump has already faced 2 impeachments, numerous scandals, and allegations of sexual and financial misconduct. Time will tell if his presidential campaign can survive a felony conviction.
I thought of Ford in the wake of the resignation of Richard Nixon as he addressed the American people for the first time as president. And he said, our Constitution works. Our great republic is a government of laws and not men. Here, the people rule. With the verdict, we saw that we are indeed a government of laws and not of men. There is no man or woman that is above the law.
Rhiannon Alley, ABC News, New York.
Moving on to local news now. The Somerset County Grand Jury has indicted a Unity man accused of sexually assaulting a child. 30-year-old Jesse Harvey was indicted for gross sexual assault. The Somerset County Sheriff's Office says it learned Harvey allegedly sexually assaulted a child under the age of 16 repeatedly over the past 4 years. A Benton man charged with murder in the death of a man from Fairfield was indicted for trying to escape from police. 22-year-old Raheem Goodwin was indicted for eluding an officer, refusing to submit to arrest, and violation of condition of release. Police tried to stop the vehicle he was driving while they were investigating the death of 62-year-old Edwin Weeks. He led them on a high-speed chase before being arrested and was later charged with murder.
Well, one man was killed Thursday following a crash in Heartland. Police say 56-year-old Matthew Seitz of Athens was driving a pickup truck on the Athens Road when the vehicle suddenly went off the road, rolled over, and then struck a tree. Seitz was killed and his passenger was uninjured. According to the Morning Sentinel, the passenger told police that Seitz lost consciousness while driving and he attempted to grab the wheel before it went out of control. Officials are now investigating to see if a medical event caused that deadly crash.
Maine State Police are investigating the death of a young child from Thomaston. Rescuers were called to the local Walmart Wednesday night for a report of a 22-month-old child that wasn't breathing. The child was then transported to Penn Bay Medical Center, where the child was pronounced dead. The State Police Major Crimes Unit was contacted to investigate, which is standard protocol in all child deaths in Maine. An autopsy is also being conducted by the medical examiner's office to determine a cause of death.
Well, Thorndike residents awoke to offensive language and symbols spray painted on their town's post office on Wednesday morning. Our David Ledford spoke with town officials to learn more about that situation.
Everybody was kind of surprised.
Postal workers and Thorndike residents found the local post office covered in yellow spray paint Wednesday.
People were upset because they think it couldn't happen in our little town. It's everywhere now.
Town officials say the building was vandalized with foul language on the walls and windows and a swastika painted on the door.
Much of the graffiti has since been covered up, but Town Clerk Rose Hill says that the words and symbols that were painted on the side of the building came as a shock.
Some people are mad, but it makes some people fearful. It's kind of shocking. SWAT stickers, profanity, obscenities, swear words. Blank, the U.S. mail is actually on the mailbox. We're a small town. We don't need that in our town.
Hill says spray cans were found in the mailbox outside the building, and the Maine State Police are looking into the incident. We reached out to state police but did not hear back. Meanwhile, local residents are hoping for answers.
To see the Nazi stuff, I mean, it was just, it was meant for shock value. No matter who gets caught for it and what happens, there has to be some sort of discipline to that because it is a hate crime.
According to the U.S. Department of Justice website, it is a federal crime to destroy or damage property owned by or under the federal government's control.
I hope whoever did do it, be nice if they just came forward.
Post office employees declined to comment on the vandalism. In Thorndike, David Ledford, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
All right, the time now is 8:08. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, the company that wants to build an aquaculture facility in Belfast is now suing the city. We'll tell you why.
But first, another check of that weather forecast. Not a bad day ahead. Partly cloudy with a chance of thunderstorms later on. We'll see some sunshine too. The highs around 72 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy with sprinkles, lows in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, also partly cloudy and breezy with highs on your Saturday around 73 degrees. We'll be right back.
Crockett's Excavation and Auto Repair, located in Ellsworth, does it all. Whether you're looking to clear a lot, put in a driveway or road, or establish proper drainage, Crockett's Excavation has you covered. Crockett's Excavation takes pride in the fact that our work stands the test of time. Reach out today for a free estimate.
What do heavy rain, extreme heat, and flying lumber all have in common? They're just a few of the things we use to test our replacement windows. At Renewal by Andersen, we put our windows through the worst because your home deserves the best. Renewal by Andersen Acclaim Custom Replacement Windows. Call or visit us online today to get some incredible savings. Affordable financing, too.
A new deck is a great, affordable way to improve your home or camp. Hammond Lumber Company can help you create the perfect deck for your outdoor space. Visit Hammond's product showroom and explore their extensive range of decking and railing options. Your Hammond sales rep will be happy to help you with your materials and design choices, and Hammond delivers from any of their 22 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Make this the year you enjoy that new deck you've always wanted. It starts when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
Crockett's Excavation and Auto Repair, located in Ellsworth, does it all. Whether you're looking to clear a lot, put in a driveway or road, or establish proper drainage, Crockett's Excavation has you covered. Crockett's Excavation takes pride in the fact that our work stands the test of time. Reach out today for a free estimate.
Thousands of kids like Grayson and Elliot receive care at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center each year. You can help them by supporting the Summer Classic for Maine Kids. This golf tournament will help kids receive care at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center by raising funds to ensure that health care is available today, tomorrow, and in the years ahead. Every dollar raised helps kids get back to the business of being kids. For more information about the tournament and how to register, please visit northernlight.org/forkids.
Welcome back, everyone. There are new developments regarding the future of an aqua farm facility in the city of Belfast, which has sparked protest and division in the community. Fish farm developers Nordic Aqua Farms are now suing the city of Belfast over the city council's recent decision to reverse the use of eminent domain, which would have helped the company develop a land-based salmon farm along Penobscot Bay. The city previously granted a condemnation order in 2021, and earlier this month, the council reversed that decision after the project faced legal challenges from Belfast area residents. According to an attorney representing Nordic, the lawsuit filed on May 16th argues that Belfast should have worked to confirm the city's borders before enacting the use of eminent domain.
It's an appeal of that decision, asking the court to decide, to oversimplify a little bit, should the city council have taken a couple of more steps before it decided what to do with the condemnation order that had been remanded on a whole different A to B appeal the year before.
We reached out to an attorney for the city of Belfast who says the city has yet to be served with a lawsuit and they would not be providing any additional comments at this time. Nordic Aqua Farms officials say they are dedicated to completing the development of a permitted on-land aquaculture facility in the city of Belfast.
The Maine Public Utilities Commission has rejected a proposed settlement that would have provided partial refunds to thousands of Electricity Maine customers. The company is a competitive energy provider, which provides customers an alternative to the state's standard offer supplier. 2 years ago, they allegedly switched customers from a fixed rate to a variable rate without their knowledge. This resulted in increased prices, with some customers' bills being hundreds of dollars more per month. Previously, Electricity Maine reached an agreement with the Maine Public Utilities Commission that would have provided partial refunds. It also would have allowed customers the opportunity to change their service. Commission members rejected that settlement on Monday.
This enforcement matter is the second brought against Electricity Maine in recent years, both involving allegations of violations of our rules. To use a baseball metaphor, Electricity Maine now has 2 strikes. We take violations of our rules very seriously, and while I'm not prejudging any future case, Electricity Maine and its leadership should understand that in the event we find in the future that it fails to comply fully with Maine law and our rules, we will impose far more impactful consequences, including significant administrative penalties and very likely the revocation of Electricity Maine's CEP license.
Commission members say they're working to expedite the rest of the process, likely including a hearing before the commissioners.
Well, after one of their own residents was scammed out of thousands of dollars, the Belfast Police Department launched a lengthy investigation into a fraud case, which is commonly described as a grandparent scam. According to police, the victim received a phone call from a scammer claiming that their son had been in a crash, struck a pregnant woman, and was arrested. And the caller went on to say that they would be sending someone to the house to collect $24,000 for bail money. The suspect, 22-year-old Umar Diallo of Bronx, New York, was later located and arrested in Southern California. Detectives say he is allegedly connected to dozens of similar scams around Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and in Nevada. They say the scam is targeting the elderly population, with victims losing on average between $20,000 to $30,000.
They want to help. Their hearts are huge, and they're being victimized because of their love for their family. They're being victimized, and we're doing the best we can to stop that.
Detectives at Belfast PD are working with Homeland Security and the FBI to help protect others around New England. The investigation is ongoing, and anyone with information is being encouraged to contact the Belfast Police Department.
Postal workers and Thorndike residents found the local post office covered in yellow spray paint Wednesday morning. And we've already had this story.
Yeah, we've already done that. So we'll move past that one.
We will move on.
There we go. The American Red Cross says it's in critical need of blood and platelet donors following a downward trend in donations over the past month. Nationwide, there were 20,000 fewer blood donations in May than needed to maintain the National Red Cross blood supply. Red Cross representatives attribute that drop to high travel numbers and severe weather around the country this month. They also say it's essential that donors come forward as we approach the summer.
Summer is always a tough time to collect, so this drop is concerning because it's earlier than we typically see, with summer on the horizon and the typical rise in automobile accidents that occur during the summer months. We want to be sure there's enough blood on hospital shelves to save lives.
Cross representatives say it only takes about 10 minutes to donate blood. To schedule an appointment, visit redcross.org. They need it for when there's accidents. They need transfusions every day. There's operations going on, but they can't do it without people willing to roll up their sleeves and help.
Absolutely. I really like the folks at the Hamden one here in Bangor. They got a good team and they make you feel really comfortable. You can crack jokes with them too.
Yeah.
They're fun.
Keep it light, right?
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. All right, the time now is 8:17. After the break, a celebration was held at the Blaine House yesterday to promote June as Maine Dairy Month.
We'll tell you about that celebration along with your full weather forecast coming up on Good Morning Maine.
When you say let's go to breakfast, you mean let's go to McDonald's. Obviously.
Get 2 sausage McMuffin with egg or bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits for $4.50.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
You can't leave without cuddles, but you also can't leave covered in hair. With Bounce Pet, you can cuddle and brush that hair off. Bounce, it's the sheet.
Another morning to savor the crunchy nooks and cranny splendor of a Thomas's English muffin.
Tom, which is a nook and which is a cranny?
That's a nook, cranny, 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 nook, cranny. I mean, they should be teaching you this in school. Huzzah! A toast to breakfast.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can start it with a splash. With a play date at a park. Or at a party with friends. Or at an epic water balloon fight. Gotcha!
You could get special low 4.75 financing for 60 months on select luxurious all-wheel drive Highlander models, which could save you up to $2,100.
Your summer starts here.
Toyota, let's go places.
Great Scott! This is Green Bear 420 in 2010. What kind of trip is this? I gotta get back to 2023. Wait, it's 2015. So much has changed. In 2023, we had a lot more glass, t-shirts, and novelties. It's gonna take a bolt of lightning to get me home. Finally, home at last. Now Green Bear 420, Green Bear Green Care is bigger and better than ever. To be continued.
If you have to ask why it's important to start your day early, here's your answer.
Kick your morning routine into high gear with any sized iced coffee for just $1.99.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Welcome back, everyone. June is National Dairy Month, a way to celebrate dairy in Maine and all around the country.
Makes me want some ice cream.
Yeah.
It's not even 9 a.m. yet. At the Blaine House, a celebration was held to also acknowledge June as Maine Dairy Month. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard has the story.
We kick off June, a month filled with celebrations. We hope you will celebrate National Dairy Month with us by including your favorite dairy products in your food moments.
Governor Janet Mills joined dairy farmers and Maine dairy advocates with a signed proclamation declaring June as Maine Dairy Month, a time to celebrate the dairy industry in the state.
Dairy farms, as we all know, are at the heart of Maine's agricultural industry, our rural communities, and our economy as a whole.
Betsy Bullard, a dairy farmer from Turner, says a lot of the dairy products you purchase in Maine are most likely from a Maine farm. One way you can tell is by looking for the processing code. If it starts with the numbers 2, 3, it's from Maine, which also means it's probably fresher than you think.
It's a fast one. So when we think about local, when my cows are having a snack this morning, my cows are milked 3 times a day, and every day that milk heads to a processing plant here in Maine. A lot of times it goes to Oakhurst, and it can be on your shelf at the grocery store or in your cup holder in your car within 24 hours.
According to Ron Dyer, the executive director for the Maine Cheese Guild, this year's Dairy Month comes on the heels of data suggesting that cheese has overtaken potato chips as the choice snack food item in America for the first time.
Gives people another choice, like instead of chunking down chips, you take curds of cheese, and know people that do that with Pineland Dairies, for instance, right here in Maine. You go into Hannaford, and they got their curds right in easy to use containers as well as big packages.
The group ended the celebration by having a toast with milk and cookies. At the Blaine House, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Milk and cookies, nothing finer.
He brought up Pineland Farms cheese too. I made
Yeah.
the best grilled cheese ever with some Pineland Farms the other day. It was just, lovely.
Yeah. If you don't know about Pineland, by the way, they're a local dairy, and they make the world's best cheese. So,
love it.
Yep.
Now I got to make a mac and cheese. I'm just thinking of all the dairy things I can eat this weekend.
hopefully you bring some into work on
I
Monday.
know, yeah. Our production assistant
good.
already asked me for some, so
Yeah.
I guess I'll just, I guess I'll have to. The time now is 8:21.
Let's get a full look at our weather forecast.
All righty, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Down East Trailer Service in Ellsworth, offering parts, sales, and full service repair on all trailers. Your local Load Ride authorized dealer. Stop by or call us today at 207-813-0007. All righty, here we go. We had a frost advisory issued across the northwestern parts of the state this morning, expiring at 7 a.m. And for now, though, just watching for clouds that will be developing later on today. We have a few of those developing now, but before we talk about that, let's check in on the wave heights, which is rather calm this morning at around 2 to 3 feet, which is why we're seeing some of that frost in the northwestern parts of the state this morning. But the waves a little bit farther active, or a little bit active further out towards sea. But for now, though, on land, here's the clouds I was mentioning earlier. So we have a few of those passing through this morning. We'll be watching for more clouds later this afternoon, along with a few showers and maybe a rumble of thunder that could occur as well. We have a little bit of energy right about in here that's started tracking from the north to the south, and that might be just enough to give us a few clouds along with a few showers and a rumble of thunder across the region today. But meanwhile, though, more energy tracking in from the west to the east across parts of the U.S., but high pressure just off to the west of us as well, keeping things quiet for now, and we'll start to quiet things down later on tonight. So futurecast moving forward, lots of sunshine to start, clouds moving for the afternoon, a few showers, maybe a rumble of thunder possible. We'll have a few sprinkles in the early evening period, and then we'll lose the clouds overnight with a lot of sunshine as we head towards the Saturday, maybe a few passing clouds, but we enter a quiet stretch starting on Saturday and beyond. And even by Saturday night, we're looking pretty good as well. As for the gusty winds for today, reaching up to around 20 miles per hour, maybe 25 miles per hour at times in some areas. Calming down later on tonight, but then here we go again for tomorrow. Maybe some more gusty winds reaching up to 20 to even 25 miles per hour at times. Our average high temperature is 70 degrees. We'll do lower 70s today and tomorrow, so close to average and really warming up Sunday and even in the parts of next week. We got upper 70s on the way from Sunday all the way through at least Wednesday, and then middle 70s as we head towards your Thursday. So for today, partly cloudy, a few showers and a rumble of thunder possible with highs in the low 70s and a north wind getting up to around 20 miles per hour at times. By tonight, here we go, middle 40s, some sprinkles possible early, then becoming partly cloudy, northwest wind backing off to around 5 miles per hour. For tomorrow, partly cloudy, a little breezy out there with highs in the low 70s and the north wind getting up to around 20 miles per hour at times. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Down East Trailer Service in Ellsworth. Partly cloudy on Sunday with highs in the upper 70s to lower 80s. Upper 70s to lower 80s again for your Monday under a partly cloudy sky. Partly cloudy again for your Tuesday with highs also in the upper 70s.
Comfy, cozy, relaxing. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find rockers, recliners, sofas, and easy chairs. Quality furniture, affordable prices. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can capture all the moments that make summer, summer. Like driving a RAV4 to wade in a waterfall.
Nice.
Cruising to play mini golf in a Camry. Or taking a Tundra to the beach.
You're not going to leave me here, are you?
You could get special low 1.99 financing on most 2024 Tundra hybrid and gas models, which could save you up to $4,100.
Your summer starts here.
Toyota, let's go places.
At Hood, our love for New England inspired New England Creamery. We make it with premium Hood milk and cream, then we overload it with the good stuff. Like Green Mountain Mint chip with a rich, fudgy swirl. Maine Sweet Blueberry with real, delicious blueberries. And Cape Cod Fudge Shop, packed with fudgy truffles. Hood's New England Creamery. From Hood, for New England. Try all 10 flavors.
There's a way to cut your dishwashing time by 50%. Try Dawn Power Wash Dish Spray. It removes 99% of grease and grime in half the time. It cleans so well, you can replace multiple cleaning products. Try Dawn Power Wash.
Pictionary. Play along from home.
Paddle of nunchucks.
With a chance to win.
This is unfair. No one knew that Colton was prolific in nunchucks.
5 days a week.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Durable, sturdy, stylish. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find solid wood, built to last, made in Maine dressers, bureaus, and nightstands. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
At least 3 people are dead, including a police officer, after a shooting at a Minneapolis apartment complex. Police say officers were responding to reports of a shooting on Thursday. They say Officer Jamal Mitchell was trying to provide medical assistance at the scene when he was ambushed and killed. A second officer was also wounded in a gunfire exchange with the suspect. Police say the suspected gunman was killed and a third person was found dead in the apartment. Mitchell was known for his heroism, for rescuing an elderly couple from a burning home only days into his job in 2023.
Well, meanwhile, Israeli forces take over the border between Egypt and Gaza, reportedly to focus on cutting off supplies and evacuation routes for Hamas fighters in southern Gaza. This as displaced Rafah residents living in tents have reported increasingly intense artillery shelling and gunfire in Gaza's far southern city. The IDF says it's now established, quote, operational control over the entire border region between Gaza and Egypt, an 8-mile-long buffer zone known as the Philadelphia Corridor. Egypt immediately protesting, pointing out an increase in Israeli troop presence there would also violate the 1979 peace treaty. On Wednesday, a top Israeli official said the war is expected to last at least through the end of the year.
The Massachusetts Institute of Technology has become the latest school to have its graduation ceremony disrupted by a protest. On Thursday, pro-Palestinian protesters walked out of the commencement ceremony at MIT, wearing keffiyehs, the checkered scarves that represent Palestinian solidarity. Over their caps and gowns, they chanted, "Free, free Palestine," and held signs that said, "All eyes on Rafah." And coming up on the second half of the newscast, a Clinton man is making his childhood dreams a reality by making his own special museum.
We'll take you there as Good Morning Maine continues.
In 10 years, Lisa Schneider will have an amazing second act, thanks to career reskilling courses from AARP to help make sure her income lives as long as she does. The younger you are, the more you need AARP.
It all starts with a Chevy truck. Chevy Silverado with the TurboMax engine and best-in-class standard torque. And Chevy Silverado HD with up to 14 available camera views. Do more in a Chevy truck. Get yours now.
Get $5,750 total value on this Silverado when you trade in an eligible vehicle. That's 10% below MSRP. Visit your Maine Chevy dealers.
When you smell the amazing scent of Gain Flings, time stops. And you realize you're in love.
Steve.
With a laundry detergent. Gain Flings. Seriously good scent.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, today is Friday, May 31st, 2024. It is also National Smile Day.
I don't want to, now that we've been told to. This holiday was created by a group of dentists and encourages people to share with the world what the power of a healthy smile can do.
And again, that's not a group of dentists there. That's a shot of our TV7 crew, including way up there at the top, Caleb Sear, second from the right up there.
Yeah.
Caleb Sear, he's one of our directors, and it's one of his last, it is his last day here at the station. So we just want to give him a shout out. It's been fun working with Caleb here over the last couple of years.
Yep, we have a good team here. I'm thankful for all we get to work with.
And he makes us smile all the time.
Yeah, and Keenan, our production assistant, who you hear us mention, on the bottom left-hand corner, he photoshopped himself in. We got to get him into this photo because he's not officially in there. But no, it's National Smile Day.
You want me to back that up a little bit?
Yeah, and
Okay.
there's a funny part of it being National Smile Day. Animals are known to bare their teeth to show dominance and to warn off predators. You don't really assume that, though, when somebody smiles at you now.
Yeah, right.
The theory is that humans adopted the behavior over time, and the smile evolved to show amusement or enjoyment. However, sometimes when somebody smiles really big, it's like, that seems kind of threatening.
I've had people growl at me before, so, you know.
What are you doing?
I don't know. Getting into trouble
What
somewhere.
provoked them?
You know. I've been married twice, you know. So.
That you were, they were provoked. Yeah. Today's holiday is to show the importance of embracing happiness and turning to positive aspects in life.
Keep on smiling. It kind of helps brighten up a room.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
All right, time for some history. Sorry, I brought up my marriages again.
Yeah, you do that. Yeah.
On this day in history, back in 1790, President George Washington signed into law the first U.S. Copyright Act. In 1879, New York's Madison Square Garden opened its doors for the very first time. In 1889, more than 2,000 people were killed in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, when the South Fork Dam collapsed and sent water rushing through the town.
I can't imagine. That's an absolute
Scary.
nightmare.
In 1907, the first taxis arrived in New York City, becoming the very first taxi service in the nation.
That's pretty early.
Yeah.
In 1921, a race riot erupted in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where white mobs began looting and leveling the affluent black district of Greenwood. It was sparked by reports that a white woman had been assaulted in an elevator by a black man, and hundreds are believed to have died. And as we've been talking about this morning when we bring this up, I don't think it's ever been proved that those allegations were true at all. I think the real issue at hand is, I've read about it a little bit. And historians mainly say is because Greenwood was an affluent town, there was that not only racism, obviously, but jealousy.
They had a lot of black business owners there, and
it was thriving.
They were killed and torched during that time.
Right, and there's nothing left of that town. There wasn't after that, and that's just a terrifying and saddening thing.
Yeah, part of our nation's darker history.
Right. In 1955, the U.S. Supreme Court ordered that all states end racial segregation with all deliberate speed. In 1935, the 20th Century Fox Film Studios opened following a merger of the Fox Film Corporation and 20th Century Pictures. In 1977, the Trans-Alaska Oil Pipeline was finished after 3 years of construction. In 2003, Eric Rudolph was finally captured. He had been the FBI's 10 most wanted list, or on the 10 most wanted list, for 5 years following the bombings during the 1996 Olympics. That's a long time.
And I don't know if you remember, originally some security guard there, they tried to pin it on him, and eventually they cleared him, and they named Eric Rudolph as the suspect.
Can you imagine being through such
horrible.
a traumatic event and then having the crime pinned on you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Caused some big problems.
Right.
All right, some neat birthdays today. Today's birthdays include actress Brooke Shields, who is 59 years old today.
She looks great.
Yeah, we've been watching her since she was a teenager
right.
in movies. Football Hall of Famer Joe Namath is 81. And actor and director Clint Eastwood is 94 years old today. We've had a hard time picking our favorite Clint Eastwood film. We looked back earlier this morning, and there's just so many of them, and a lot of wonderful ones there, too.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go back and watch Escape from Alcatraz. That may be one of my top 5s. I know that's kind of like, a lot of people think of the Westerns more so, but...
I like a lot of his old Westerns, but some of his more modern ones, like he was great in The Mule, where he played a drug courier or something like that.
That was really recent.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. And
96
I was
years old.
told this morning he's making what is believed to be his final film right now.
Wow.
So
good for
yeah,
him.
what a career.
Yeah. All right, moving right along. It would be a good day for a movie later on tonight. Of course, it's pretty nice right now, but we are expecting to see some thunderstorms.
Chance of thunderstorms later on.
Yep. Here's Devin Biggs with the forecast.
And thank you very much, Craig and Emma. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Downey's Trailer Service in Ellsworth, offering parts, sales, and full service repair on all trailers. Your local Load Right authorized dealer. Stop by or call us today at 207-813-0007. Overall, not looking too terrible out there. We had a frost advisory that was issued earlier this morning across the northern parts of the state, expiring at 7 a.m. Eastern time, so pretty much this is expiring this morning. Otherwise, so we're looking pretty good as a result of the way things are looking right now. Just a few clouds passing through. We will have to watch for more clouds developing this afternoon and maybe a few showers and a rumble of thunder that could occur as well as the daytime progresses on. Let's zoom things out. Not a whole lot going on right now. Looks like we have a little bit of energy tracking in from the north going toward the south. And this might be some of the energy that will be moving in that could give us that chance for a shower or a rumble of thunder today. Futurecast showing those clouds developing and maybe a few showers and a rumble of thunder. Notice we may have a few sprinkles early in the evening, but then clearing out overnight into parts of early Saturday morning. As for the winds, those sustained winds may pick up to around 11 to 12 miles per hour today, gusts up to at least 20 miles per hour, also possible today as well before we back things off later on tonight. So for today, here we go. Partly cloudy, a few showers and a rumble of thunder possible with highs in the low 70s and the north wind getting up to around 20 miles per hour at times. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period. Sunshine to start, more clouds for the afternoon, a few showers and a rumble of thunder possible. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma.
All right, thank you, Devin. Well, over in Clinton, there's a man piecing together parts of the past for everyone to see right in his backyard.
Our Devin Dagnall tells us about it in this week's Destination Devin.
I remember being at least 5, 6 years old and just knowing this is what I wanted to do.
For about the past 6 years, Paul Alexander has been making his childhood dreams a reality by building a museum in his backyard and filling it with different Americana memorabilia.
So that was a point in life where you just realize, I need to do something. If I'm going to do it, I need to be doing it now.
But there's one part of American culture that he's hyper-focused on. Cars. Paul says as far back as he can remember, he's loved everything about them. Growing up, he constantly tinkered with cars and even carved out a few of his own Matchbox cars, but things really took off when he got a car of his own.
When I was 14 years old, I bought my first car. It was the '72 Camaro, which I still have today.
Now Paul has quite the collection in his museum, with cars like the original Palace Playland car, his 1972 Camaro, and the car Tom Davis and Dan Aykroyd used to drive around town while filming Coneheads.
We must adapt.
Paul also enjoys building his own cars. He's built a replica of the Dragula from the Munsters, and he's currently working on a replica of the 1960s Batmobile and a full life-size version of an old soda machine model car.
It's a lost art. It really is.
What goes into that art?
Love and a lot of talent.
With so many projects, Paul couldn't possibly do it all by himself, and luckily, he doesn't have to. About 2 years ago, Wayne Fitch joined Paul's ranks, and they've worked together ever since.
It's just, I got something to do. My wife passed away 20 years ago, so, you know, this keeps me going.
The museum is still in its early stages, but if you or a group want to check it out, you can do so completely free. Just send Paul an email at moparalexander@yahoo.com.
One of our goals is not just filling a garage with cars that we built, but also the opportunity for people to see it, to enjoy it, to see things that they've never seen before, parts of past that's long gone.
In Clinton, Devin Dagnall, ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
What a neat place.
There isn't an inch of empty space on that wall. I love it. What an eclectic collection.
Yeah, good for him.
Mm-hmm. All right, right after the break, Tyler Cruz has our sports updates. Plus, we had a lovely interview with the upcoming candidate for Miss Maine in October, and she's shedding light on a very important topic.
We'll tell you all about that when Good Morning Maine continues.
While politicians talked, President Trump fought for working people. He took on China and secured the border. I'm Austin Terrio, former NASCAR driver and small business owner. I'm proud to have President Trump's endorsement. Together we'll secure the border, stop Biden's electric vehicle mandate, and bring back American manufacturing. I'll fight to make sure our best days are ahead.
Endorsed by President Trump. Austin Terrio for Congress.
I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message.
Refine, your local expert in window and door installation, carpentry repairs, and commercial facilities management. At Refine, we're proud to offer Maine-made Paradigm windows crafted with care and precision to ensure quality and durability like no other. From quaint cottages to bustling businesses, let us refine your space with our signature Maine-made touch. Trust Refine to exceed your expectations every time. Contact us today and let Maine craftsmanship elevate your home or business. Rise with Refine.
Looks like I'll be grilling again tonight. Oh boy, Hannaford makes it easy to find great savings and take grilling season to a whole new level. Huh, wait a second. Does this shopping list say broccoli or bratwurst? Who am I kidding? I went with bratwurst.
At Hannaford, you've got savings in the bag. Now through May 25th, boneless, skinless chicken breasts or thighs are just $1.99 a pound. Select varieties of Cape Cod or Lay's potato chips are just $2.49 each. And get 2 1-pound packages of fresh strawberries for just $4. Only at Hannaford Supermarkets.
Great Scott! This is Green Bear 420 in 2010. What kind of trip is this? I gotta get back to 2023. Wait, it's 2015. So much has changed. In 2023, we had a lot more glass, t-shirts, and novelties. It's gonna take a bolt of lightning to get me home. Finally, home at last. Now Green Bear 420, Green Bear Green Care is bigger and better than ever. To be continued.
Houston. Memphis.
An amazing play.
The United Football League, this week on Fox.
Game 1 of the NBA Finals is now less than a week away. Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. The Celtics will play the Dallas Mavericks for Game 1 of the NBA Finals in Boston next Thursday night. The Mavericks taking down the Minnesota Timberwolves in dominant fashion in Game 5 to win this series 4-1. And when they come to down, the C's will be rested and ready. They'll have a total of 10 days off in between Game 1 and their Game 4 win on Monday. After sweeping the Pacers, Boston is now 12-2 this postseason, and they are just 4 wins away from hanging banner 18 earlier on Thursday. Joe Mazzulla talked about what has separated this playoff run from the last few.
You know, we played without an expectation, without a sense of entitlement. I think we just played with an understanding that even though we're a good team, we have to be the harder playing team. So I think that's important. Felt like we weren't distracted by anything other than the things that impact winning.
All right, looking forward to that matchup. Let's go to the tennis court now. George Stevens girls tennis is the #1 seed in the Class C North tournament, despite some mid-season adversity. Ryan Soudal has more.
It feels great to have this opportunity to be able to just have fun for longer.
It's certainly a lot more fun when you're at the top. For the first time since 2014, George Stevens girls tennis is the #1 seed in C North.
That's crazy. That's great. I didn't even know that.
Each one of these kids can do something that the others can't. We have a lot of depth and a lot of commitment, and I think they respect that in each other.
And that dynamic they have amongst each other is just as important as their play.
You know, we're all friends, we're all having fun together. I think if we just go out there and we have fun and we know that this is the sport that we love, then that's when we play our best.
Partway through the season, though, the fun came to a halt as their previous head coach stepped down.
We didn't have a coach and nobody knew really what was going to happen. We were all feeling just a little nervous about that. And then John stepped in.
John McMillan to the rescue. McMillan's daughter Ellie is a GSA tennis alum, so he knows the program well, but he didn't come in to change things in his vision.
I'm not really a coach. I feel myself more as an advisor, really. These guys know what they're doing. I just wander around and pick up balls.
Not if you ask his team, that is.
I think he's being too humble. He's a really great coach, and he did step in, and he was that coach that pushed us, that also helped us have fun. He's really had a big impact on our team.
The Class C Regional Championship will come through Blue Hill, but the Eagles will have to go through incredibly strong teams like Matt Knockhook and PCHS that they haven't faced yet this year.
They're excited about the challenge. They kind of want to know where they stand, and I'm really excited to see how these other teams play.
And who knows, maybe they'll stand above all the rest.
I don't think anyone really has expectations except we're going to go out there and just do the best we can. But that would be really amazing to be remembered as that team.
In Blue Hill, I'm Ryan Sudol, ABC 7, Fox 22 Sports.
Heading to some track and field now. As announced last week, Maine senior hammer thrower Mackenzie Wilson will be competing in next week's NCAA championship meet. With a 61.89 meter throw at the preliminary meet last week, Wilson placed 9th, and that was enough to send her to Oregon for her first nationals berth of her career. She's also the first black bear in many years to make it there, realizing a dream since she set foot in Orono 5 years ago. She couldn't think of a better way to call it a career.
It feels like a storybook ending, honestly. Over these past 5 years, I've had, my self-doubts, my adversity and whatnot, just keeping the same goal as the motivator in practice. To have this come true is just completely unbelievable. And I'm so excited that I get to, go to the big show.
Not only is this a huge opportunity for her, but for the university. She says that when people think of UMaine sports, they definitely don't think of outdoor track, and she's hoping to change that Thursday and also show what Black Bear Track and Field is made of.
I'm super excited to see the University of Maine Black Bear jersey at the national championships. Like, to have that away from the hockey team on ESPN and etc. is incredible. To be in a position like that and put a spotlight on the school is just amazing.
Finally, now let's go to the basketball court. After 5 incredible years with the University of Maine, women's basketball star Anne Simon is going pro. Simon has signed a professional contract in Italy, playing in the Serie A1 league. She will join the team Lupe Basket, as she announced in a tweet on Wednesday. Simon won the America East Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year award twice in her career at Maine. Twice she led Maine to an America East regular season championship, and this past year helped lead the Black Bears to an America East title and a trip to the NCAA tournament. Wishing her all the best in her career. Here's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Crockett's Excavation and Auto Repair, located in Ellsworth, does it all. Whether you're looking to clear a lot, put in a driveway or road, or establish proper drainage, Crockett's Excavation has you covered. Crockett's Excavation takes pride in the fact that our work stands the test of time. Reach out today for a free estimate.
With Cascade Platinum Plus, I have upped my dish game.
Oh, and see, in that dishwasher.
Watch me.
Platinum Plus gives you the highest standard of clean, even in your machine.
Clean enough for you?
Yeah.
Scrape, load, done. Cascade Platinum Plus.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can do all your favorite beach activities, like spikeball, whitewater rafting, shrimp boils, wade fishing, or hanging with the locals. You can say that again.
You could get low 4.75 financing for 60 months on an all-wheel drive RAV4 hybrid or gas model, which could save you up to $1,600.
Your summer starts here.
Toyota, let's go places.
Planet Oats so creamy and not watery like.
Exactly, and unsweetened has 0 grams of sugar.
And don't forget, it's an excellent source of calcium. Wow, Planet Oat really has it all. You guys are so right. No, you are. No, you are. No, you are. Yeah, you are.
In 10 years, Lisa Schneider will have an amazing second act, thanks to career reskilling courses from AARP to help make sure her income lives as long as she does. The younger you are, the more you need AARP.
Crockett's Excavation and Auto Repair, located in Ellsworth, does it all. Whether you're looking to clear a lot, put in a driveway or road, or establish proper drainage, Crockett's Excavation has you covered. Crockett's Excavation takes pride in the fact that our work stands the test of time. Reach out today for a free estimate.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. We're here with Elena Kirby. She's currently Mrs. Penobscot County 2024, and she's running for Mrs. Maine in October. And this is all because she has a very important thing to raise awareness to, early detection of childhood cancer, which is quite personal to her. Elena, thanks for joining us this morning.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So this is personal to you for a very important reason. Your son was diagnosed, am I correct?
Yes, he was diagnosed with retinoblastoma cancer in his left eye when he was 2 years old.
And you were able to catch this. Can you explain how you're suggesting that other people can catch it early as well?
Yes, well, our story is just a bit different because unfortunately we caught ours because my son took a little tumble and then we took him to get that checked out. And when they checked just for him falling, they discovered the retinoblastoma in his eye. Wow. And the doctors themselves asked if we could go through his photographs because they said that we could detect the cancer if we looked through the photographs and saw a reflection in one of the pupils, specifically his left pupil. And we would notice that one eye would come back red and one eye would come back gray. No reflection whatsoever. Yep.
And the gray one is the issue.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And we could tell at that point that he had no vision left in that eye.
Wow.
Yep. And the cancer was spreading very quickly, and we decided to remove his eye 4 days after they found that. Wow. Yeah.
So, but he was young enough that he probably couldn't have communicated that to you.
Right, right. There were small signs, like he would bump into things when he would run around on that side, and he would get really, really upset in the sunlight, like screaming to the, like it could hurt him, it seemed like.
Right.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the things you're telling people to watch out for. What exactly should people watch out for?
Yeah, you can tell it's strange. You can tell that the cry is different. It sounds painful.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like they're upset to be in the car. It sounds like it almost hurts because the sunlight hits them.
Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, and you're running for Mrs. Maine this coming October, and I believe you've made this your mission.
Yes.
This is why you're doing this.
This is exactly why I'm doing this, because we did catch ours a little bit late, and he did lose his eye, but if you're paying attention to the photographs, and you have family members, and all of your friends are paying attention to photographs, we all work together, and we notice this, and we speak up when we see it, we can catch it early. It is curable to a degree, and the reflection will always stay gray after it's diagnosed, but you can cure this cancer early. It doesn't always have to end in removal.
Just so we're certain, if people are looking at a photograph, what should they be looking for?
If you're looking at a photograph and they're looking head on, directly at that picture with the flash on, you'll see one or both pupils will be gray, or one will be red and one will be gray.
Yeah.
And that is a big indicator, and that's in multiple photos, not just one. One can be a fluke, but multiple is definitely something you want to get your doctor involved. Yeah.
How's your son doing now?
He's great. He's awesome. He has a prosthetic eye. He's getting used to taking it out. He's not the biggest fan of it, but he's getting used to it, and he'll be 6 on Wednesday.
Oh, happy early birthday.
Yeah, look at that face right there.
So cute.
Oh, he looks happy.
Yeah, he's so cute, and he's got the energy, I'll tell you what. That did not slow him down. He has the energy for our whole family, and he keeps everyone in our community on their toes. Yeah, absolutely.
And you were saying you guys are going to the beach for his birthday.
Yes, yep, on his request. Yes, he wants to go to the beach.
Oh, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Thank you for speaking out on this important issue.
Of course, yes. Thank you for having me today.
Of course, absolutely. We'll send it over to Devin Biggs for our full weather forecast.
All righty, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Down East Trailer Service in Ellsworth, offering parts, sales, and full service repair on all trailers. Your local Load Right authorized dealer. Stop by or call us today at 207-813-0007. All righty, here we go. We had a frost advisory issued across the northwestern parts of the state this morning, expiring at 7 a.m. And for now, though, just watching for clouds that will be developing later on today. We have a few of those developing now, but before we talk about that, let's check in on the wave heights, which is rather calm this morning at around 2 to 3 feet, which is why we're seeing some of that frost in the northwestern parts of the state this morning, but the waves a little bit farther active, or a little bit active further out towards sea. But for now, though, on land, here's the clouds I was mentioning earlier, so we have a few of those passing through this morning. We'll be watching for more clouds later this afternoon, along with a few showers and maybe a rumble of thunder that could occur as well. We have a little bit of energy right about in here that started tracking from the north to the south, and that might be just enough to give us a few clouds along with a few showers showers and a rumble of thunder across the region today. But meanwhile, though, more energy tracking in from the west to the east across parts of the U.S., but high pressure just off to the west of us as well, keeping things quiet for now, and we'll start to quiet things down later on tonight. So futurecast moving forward, lots of sunshine to start, clouds moving for the afternoon, a few showers, maybe a rumble of thunder possible. We'll have a few sprinkles in the early evening period, and then we'll lose the clouds overnight with a lot of sunshine as we head towards the Saturday, maybe a few passing clouds, but we enter a quiet stretch starting on Saturday and beyond. And even by Saturday night, we're looking pretty good as well. As for the gusty winds for today, reaching up to around 20 miles per hour, maybe 25 miles per hour at times in some areas. Calming down later on tonight, but then here we go again for tomorrow. Maybe some more gusty winds reaching up to 20 to even 25 miles per hour at times. Our average high temperature is 70 degrees. We'll do lower 70s today and tomorrow, so close to average and really warming up Sunday and even in the parts of next week. We got upper 70s on the way from Sunday all the way through at least Wednesday, and then middle 70s as we head towards your Thursday. So for today, partly cloudy, a few showers and a rumble of thunder possible with highs in the low 70s and a north wind getting up to around 20 miles per hour at times. By tonight, here we go, middle 40s, some sprinkles possible early, then becoming partly cloudy, northwest wind backing off to around 5 miles per hour. For tomorrow, partly cloudy, a little breezy out there with highs in the low 70s and the north wind getting up to around 20 miles per hour at times. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Downey's Trailer Service in Ellsworth. Partly cloudy on Sunday with highs in the upper 70s to lower 80s. Upper 70s to lower 80s again for your Monday under a partly cloudy sky. Partly cloudy again for your Tuesday with highs also in the upper 70s.
When you say let's go to breakfast, you mean let's go to McDonald's. Obviously.
Get 2 sausage McMuffin with egg or bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits for $4.50.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes & More has a team of experts trained in pet orthotics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or for the hard-to-fit foot, with fashionable and functional footwear from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Teva, Taos, Ufus, and Birkenstocks. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
I have prepared a Thomas's breakfast for you to savor together.
Thanks, Tom. Hey, are English muffins from England?
Heavens, no. They're from the pantry.
Are you from England?
Nay, I am also from the pantry. Huzzah! A toast to breakfast.
I'm adding Downy Unstoppables to my wash. Now I'll be smelling fresh all day long. Still fresh.
So fresh. Get 6 times longer lasting freshness plus odor protection. Try for under $5.
I'll do it in 15.
I want to play, so I'm gonna say 12. What?
25 words or less.
NYC.
Broadway.
Island.
Manhattan.
You know, Amber, you wanted to play, baby. You played.
Watch and win.
1 word left.
Shopping.
Shopping cart.
Boom. Every weekday.
Did you see it, Amanda?
I'm impressed every time.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22. If you have to ask why it's important to start your day early, here's your answer.
Kick your morning routine into high gear with any sized iced coffee for just $1.99.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Well, a mom surprises her son at his college graduation. It happened May 11th at the University of West Georgia, about 50 miles west of Atlanta. Malik Hurd received his diploma and then hears that there's a special guest who traveled all the way from Kosovo. Malik's mom, Eva Roby, a National Guard sergeant, was deployed to Kosovo, and she traveled all the way back to Georgia just to see her son graduate. Malik exits the stage and then runs into his mom, with the two sharing an emotional embrace. We'll stick with the video for just a few seconds here. There they go. Isn't that beautiful?
Gosh. Yeah, I
Just
teared
beautiful.
up this morning when I saw that the first time. You can tell that he's just like, that was the one person that he wanted there, and she found a way to show up. When that's like a really difficult thing, to be able to leave where you're stationed.
Yeah.
She probably had to turn right back around and go, but it's like, wow.
What a great surprise, too.
Yeah.
He didn't think she'd be there, but then she
Yep.
came through.
Oh.
My favorite story of the day.
Yep, and congratulations to him as well.
Yeah.
All right, well, the Lufkin Police Department got a kick out of this one. Officers were responding to a call about a kangaroo on the loose when it hopped across the road in the Texas community last week. The animal's owners say a backyard gate wasn't latched properly, so the roo named Red hightailed it out of there. He spent the night on the lam before bouncing back home.
And there's nothing cheddar than this, for Sarah Griesbach. The Central Wisconsin woman has been named a Wisconsin Master Cheesemaker.
Wow.
An official certification that's considered the ultimate achievement for cheesemakers. And Griesbach is only the third woman in Wisconsin history to earn that title. It took several years and 3 rounds of grading to earn the distinction.
What?
Is
that a pun?
It's totally a pun.
Okay.
The Nasonville Dairy Cheesemaker specializes in cheddar and Monterey Jack. Griesbach says she's striving to be the best.
That's a great thing to strive to be the best in. Cheese?
Yeah, congratulations to her.
Good for her.
We're very pro-cheese here on the morning
Yes.
show. So.
Hard stance there.
Yeah.
All right, well, if you missed anything, you can head to foxbangor.com. It's Friday. Happy Friday. We'll be back on ABC 7 and Fox 22 at 6 a.m. on Monday morning.
And thanks again to Caleb Sear, our director, his final show right now. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Today on 25 Words or Less, wait a minute. If she's here, who's panhandling under the local bridges? It's Rosie O'Donnell. And joining Rosie are high school buddies Meta and Brooke. Her show Raven's Home's been on so long that one of the kids has a beard. It's Raven Simone. Joining her are returning champions, musical friends Kavele and Grand Elsa. And now here's your host. She recently came down with a bad case of